All right, we're going to get started. So, like I said, my name is Lauren. I work with the sales team, the marketing team, and the engineering team to communicate some of the amazing updates that go into GovDash. Along with me, we have Bailey, who works on our proposal cloud, and then Parker, who works on our AI assistant Dash, along with many other things. So we're super excited to get started. Please wait till the end to ask questions, and we'll make sure to get to them towards the end of this webinar. All right, cool. So before I get into the product updates, we kind of just want to talk about how technology is evolving in government contracting. Many teams rely on manual spreadsheets and Excel to do a lot of their work. And with the rise and surge of AI, a lot of new tools have really hit the market in the last couple of years. This orange line indicates proposal AI tools really saturating the market, and a lot of people have been trying these out. However, they are not very geared towards GovCon or the industry itself, and tend to be industry agnostic, is what they call it. So they're not really supporting the full life cycle of what a government contractor needs. And so this blue line here is showing the rise of autonomous agents, which really indicates like AI agents. And these are going to be embedded in a lot of software platforms like GovDash, because they have the contextual information, and they can automate a lot of the processes that used to take government contractors weeks, if not months of work. So just this chart is showing the trend of technology, and something that you should keep in mind as these technologies hit the market. So then I'm just going to cover some insights we've seen from the market itself and our customers at GovDash. So we're seeing opportunity data originating actually in GovDash, and a lot of customers are finding opportunities directly in the platform. And they're using GovDash as sort of a CRM along with all the other workflows that they use it for. So this is something that we're building upon. We're increasing the amount of integrations we have within the platform so that people do not have to leave GovDash. The rise in sources sought in RFIs. So another point that we try to hit with GovDash is creating features and workflows to support these types of documents. For example, being able to do market research in the platform, creating capabilities matrices, collaborating with your team throughout each workflow, and having opportunity notes within each workflow. And then the last point I want to hit on is early signals to RFPs. So with the seasonality of government contracting, we want to make sure our customers feel supported to find these early signals and prepare for these bigger solicitations and RFPs that they need to make towards the the fall. So these are all things we keep in mind, and as we build the tool out, over 54% of our team comes from government contracting. So we have the industry expertise to really support our customers. All right, now I'm going to hand it off to Bailey.
All right. Hi, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Bailey. I'm a lead software engineer here at GovDash. Primarily, I work on the outlining process, which is our system for extracting and classifying information from within user uploaded documents and then creating a responsive and compliant proposal outline. So before joining the team here at GovDash, I worked as a software engineer for a government contractor that some of you may have heard of called CACI. During my time there, I wasn't directly related to writing proposals as I was a software engineer. However, we did have a few like internal intro to the career days where I got to see firsthand some of what the proposal team at CACI went through when preparing a bid for a contract. And I walked away from that experience with a real appreciation for how intricate and honestly how fragile the proposal process can be. These documents are massive. Instructions are buried in dozens of pages of government language. And if you miss, even a single line of compliance, the whole proposal can be thrown out before it's ever even reviewed, right? So when I came to GovDash, that context really stuck with me. And I know how much is riding on getting not only just the outlining experience correct, but also how crucial it is to be able to stay compliant and verify that compliance with ease. So for the past several months, the team and myself have been working on a major overhaul of our document processing system. We really rebuilt it from the ground up to help teams not just parse these complex documents, but also catch the things that matter and make sure it's easy for everyone to validate and understand why GovDash as a system makes the decisions that it does while it's putting your outlines together. So today, what I'm going to walk you through is some of the key improvements that we've made and like the stats and things that we've seen there. And then I'm going to take a live demo of the system in action. I'm going to show you our new document shredding system in the works, how our new citation editor gives you more control during generation, and then also our new compliance matrix, which is helping teams kind of spot gaps early before they even click the generate proposal button. If you're already a GovDash user, all of this functionality is live, but I'm just really excited to be able to kind of share all these insights with you today. So yeah, before going into the demo, now that you know kind of what we set out to fix, I'd like to kind of show you some of the results that we've been seeing since rolling all of this new stuff out to our users. First and foremost, we've doubled the detection of our relevant content extraction from solicitation documents. I know that's super wordy, but essentially what that means is, let's say for in the past, every 10 sentences from a document that we've detected as being a proposal preparation instruction, maybe only 4 of them were super relevant in creating that outline. Now, for that same set of, say, 10 sentences that we might pull, 8 of those are going to be relevant. So we've majorly reduced the amount of noise that we are looking at while we're going through the different stages of setting up that outline and citing all these things for your proposal. We've also achieved a 24% boost in sentence classification accuracy. So we've always really prided ourselves on being able to find deeply nested information from within solicitation documents and also label it correctly. However, while we were rebuilding this document processing system, we really greatly optimized for that needle in the haystack style information where we're able to go in and find specific sentences that might be relevant without having to maybe grab the whole page of context around it. And last but not least, we were able to bring about all of these really great improvements while still shaving off tons of processing time. So right now we're seeing on an average of 80% reduction in the total amount of time that it takes to build up that validated outline. So something that, let's say, took 30 or 90 minutes before, we're now getting these outlines out in roughly 5 to 15 minutes for most solicitation packages. And really, all of these improvements aren't just about the numbers. They're directly helping teams get that compliant first draft faster with fewer chances of missing anything that's crucial. All right, cool. So I'm going to hop into a live demo of all these different things that I've been mentioning. Let me go ahead here. All right, cool. So before I kind of jump into all the new views that I've been mentioning, I kind of wanted to show anyone who's a current GovDash user how they can find each of these new things. So within the proposal cloud, if you have a really, really old solicitation that you might have ran, say, from like 2 months ago, you're not currently going to have the updated views on these. These are some of our old views still. But if you want to bring these older outlines into the future onto all these new views, you can click this reprocess outline button. And then by clicking this, it will regenerate your outline and bring it onto all of these new views. Be forewarned that if you do this, we are going to be regenerating the outline sections. So if this is already something that's been heavily reviewed and you're very married to your current outline, then just hold tight. We are running all of the backfills to bring these older outlines up to speed, and all those older ones will be brought forward soon. But if you are starting any new outline though that you would upload in the normal way by clicking the generate proposal button, You can throw in the normal uploaded manner, throwing in a solicitation here, and starting that in the standard way will have all of these viewers enabled by default. I'm not going to wait for this one to finish processing, obviously. I've already had one that I ran previously and got this. It's all shredded up and ready to go for the presentation here today. So in here, we're looking at SOUP, which is a pretty well-known solicitation package. And what I'd like to start with first is our new shred mode viewer. So within this viewer, you're no longer seeing a static PDF. You're seeing the PDF broken down into its most atomic elements, which are its sentences, right? And so the cool thing here that you can start to immediately interact with is this kind of hover events that goes on over each of these individual lines of texts. And this shows on display really exactly what GovDash is doing when it's looking at your documents. During our processing, we have looked at every single one of these boxed in components and have determined, what it is that this sentence is doing, what it does for the document, and how we plan on using it moving forward. On the left here, you'll see all these different filters for the different classifiers that we might put on a particular sentence within that document. So to start, if everything is off, you kind of scroll through here and quickly see everything that we've extracted from this document, really, again, how we shredded the document up. But if you start to throw on these views, you quickly see how we have actually assigned different classifiers to each of these sentences and what we found in your document. So starting with proposal preparation instructions, these are going to be all the text that has to deal with things like proposal submission instructions, proposal formatting requirements. It's going to line out what all of the different sections that need to be required in your outline might be, and then everything that might need to be filled in as a subset of that. So we've really done a good job at, again, as you can see here, we start grabbing these sentences right as the proposal submission instructions start. So you can see all of the proposal prep instructions and then all of the volumes that are listed out and everything that might need to go into those volumes. One of the new classifiers that we've actually just recently added is evaluation criteria. And these are anything that the government is going to use to evaluate how are the quality of your generated response, right? So full disclosure, we aren't fully integrating all of these into our flows just yet. We have done a great job at identifying and pulling out all of this text from our documents, and we have plans to start bringing these into our generation processes pretty soon. So for example, in the outline flow, when we go to, let's say, generate page limits for the different sections, if you have a top level volume with a page limit of 30, and then all those child subsections don't have any page limits assigned to them, we're going to start looking at these evaluation criteria to see, what the government might be looking for or put emphasis on, so we ourselves can assign a higher page limit to those sections, or page target rather, to really fill up and make a higher quality proposal on your behalf. And then on the content generation side of things, we can also use these evaluation criteria to really, again, put emphasis on things that matter most or what the government's really looking for. Of the other major three classifiers, we have task area requirements. And these are sentences that we've identified as being things that the bidder would have to carry out if they were to be awarded the contract. And we use these sentences to assign them to particular sections to really tell our system what should we be talking about in a particular section. So if the government's saying we need someone to do this thing, we want to know what that thing is, so that way we can describe how your company might be the best at being able to do that thing, right? And so the proposal preparation instructions are going to figure out what sections your outline might need, and the task area requirements are going to really flesh out what it is that those individual sections might need to talk about. And then finally, again, these evaluation criteria we're going to start using to embellish these sections to make them even more relevant and just that much better. Finally, auxiliary to all these different classifiers, we have the shall, will, and must view, which just kind of highlights any section that has the words shall, will, or must in it, since these will often have sentences of emphasis that should be paid attention to. We don't really use these internally. This is more just a nice to have for your validation when looking at these different documents. So that is shred mode. That is how we kind of take apart and shred up all of your documents once you've uploaded them. From there, as I've kind of alluded to, we have our new citation mode as well, which if you go to an individual outline and within its outline sections, you're going to be greeted with that same kind of familiar view that shows you how we plan on mapping each of these things that we've pulled out from these source documents back to your individual outline sections. So if I were to say, go to ISO 9001, this section here, you can see all of the sentences that we have found in the document that directly relate to and call for this section's existence, right? And in the same way, you can filter out the different citations that we've assigned to this section. And this really gives you that, that ability to inform the system how you want this section to be talked about as well. So like I was saying before, if you had these task areas and or proposal prep instructions, if you wanted to talk about something specific in this section, you could go ahead and cite different information back to that section by just using these little highlighters. So it keeps it very natural. I can go grab this highlighter, click and drag, and now I've assigned all of these sentences as citations to this particular outline section. And when you click generate proposal, we're going to use all that information when actually formulating the text in your response. And some other quality of life improvements we've made here. You can now stay directly in this view and swap through all of your outline sections, rather than in the past, you used to have to kind of come out and then click on the new section, scroll back down and go in. You can stay all right here within this viewer and flip through each of these sections. And again, you're now able to modify any of the citations within that same view, just with all of these different highlighter components. So it keeps it very natural. And if you're not really interested in having all this stuff on the side, you can keep it, exactly what you might be used to seeing with pen and paper and highlighter, and just have this pulled up and highlight out the different sentences that you might be of interest to you while you're running through this. And finally, one of the other really big features that we're excited to roll out is our compliance matrix view. This is going to be pretty native to those that are already in the GovCon space that are used to validating their outlines with a compliance matrix. This kind of has that Excel sheet style validation for all of your different outline sections. So you can group by the different things of the actual outline, right? You can group by the outline type, or the outline section rather, which is going to have all of the outline sections listed out and their citations. You can group by the citation type. So if you want to just see all the proposal prep instructions, eval criteria, again, this is listed out for all the documents. In the document view, then you can also see everything that we've pulled out for each and every individual doc. And then none is just going to show you, everything across all documents. So one of those that, everyone's pretty much used to is the outline sections. You can filter out the different things, like you filter out documents where they are an explicit document itself, explicit citations, sections, etc. All of these columns are individually editable, so you can go ahead and switch those around and shut some of them off if you don't really want to see them. And if you only want to bring up what you're interested in, you can do that there. And then just for, that great validation that you can make sure that we are parsing out the right things, you click on these sentences directly, and we will pull them out where we found these in the documents. So one of the other really cool things that these views allow you to do is if you scroll down to, say no section, for example. So these are all of the sentences in the source documents that we have not attributed to a particular section. You can filter on this accounted for tab. And what accounted for is telling you is, are we currently utilizing this sentence in any way for your documents, and does it matter? So for example, this chunk or this shard of information that we pulled out, we didn't assign any types, meaning we didn't assign any instructions, offers, taskers. We didn't assign anything to that. It's not attributed to a section, and that's fine, right? We don't necessarily need to have mapped that back to anything. However, if you filter this out and now you can see the proposal prep instructions, you can see this chunk of text here. We've labeled it as a proposal prep instruction, but we haven't necessarily mapped this back to any outline section. And in that way, it's not currently being accounted for, because once you click that generate proposal button, this sentence isn't going to be used at all to actually generate the text there, so it's not being accounted for. By clicking this, you can now tell the system what we should do with it. So if you've decided, 6804, and kind of the reason that those get pulled out is because it's in relevance next to the instruction. But for example, let's say you don't think that's relevant. You click this here, you can ignore it. That's going to strip that classification from that sentence and remove it from the view, because now it has no type, it's not accounted for in the outline, and that's fine. For something that you might feel as if should have been mapped to a section, you can click that this button. Sorry, don't want to ignore that one. You click it, grab a section, and then assign it to that section. And then what that's going to do is it's actually going to cite that sentence back to an individual outline section. So you quickly flip through this and immediately see any potential gaps and filter out everything. So that way, eventually, you're kind of looking at something like this, where every single thing that we've identified is being accounted for properly in your outline, and you can feel confident that you're not really missing anything in your generated response. So that is pretty much all the new things that I wanted to demo here today. I guess corollary to this, as you can see, all of these new improvements, the speed is much faster. In the time that it took me to just kind of show you some of these new views, the outline that I uploaded earlier is already ready to go, fully shredded up, and has all of the documents fully parsed and good to go. So that's some of the speed increases that you're going to be able to see now on our platform, as well as a lot of the new views. So that is everything that I wanted to demo. If we could just pull the slides up quick. And with that, I will be handing it back over to Parker to talk about Dash.
Thanks, Bailey. Hi, everyone. My name is Parker. I'm an engineer here at GovDash as well. Prior to joining the GovDash team, I was a software engineer at Lockheed Martin, where I was supporting the NC3 mission at US Stratcom. I led the development of a new application that's currently being used by our warfighters there. And when I was at Lockheed, I worked on a pretty small team myself, so I had direct exposure to the procurement process of our contract, and I instantly knew how large of a problem GovDash was solving here, which really inspired me to join the team. So now that I've joined the GovDash team, I'm focused on the development of Dash, which is the AI assistant that we have on our platform. This encompasses everything from our word assistant to our deep research and custom docs flows, and it's tightly integrated with all areas of GovDash. So today I'll be going over more specifically the Proposal Cloud, but it's also integrated across capture, contract, data library, everything you see within the application Dash can interact with. And Dash is really just a teammate that can intelligently tap into the GovDash engine that we have, and then help every user carry out ad hoc on-demand workflows that otherwise we wouldn't have supported. So Bailey just went through some of the amazing advancements that we've been working on recently to improve the experience within Proposal Cloud. And as you saw, GovDash will do a ton of heavy lifting for you there. But we also want to empower every user to have complete control over the output of their proposals. So a key way to do this is to utilize Dash within the Proposal Cloud. So that's what I'm going to be going over today. So the first thing I'll go over is a brand new integration that we released just today under an early access flag. And then next, I will go over how to work with the solicitation package, maybe extract information that otherwise would have been tedious to extract. And then I can go over how Dash can be used as a search engine, both within your GovDash data library, within your own documents, and through internet search. And then finally, I'll go through at the very end some of the plans that we have in the upcoming pipeline and what you can expect to see coming up. So now I will share my screen and demo a little bit about how to use Dash here within Proposal Cloud. So perfect. So just today, actually, we released this new capability for Dash that allows it to interact directly with your outlines. So now you can ask clarifying questions on why GovDash decided to make the choices that it did. You can ask questions about each section. You can even ask Dash to make modifications to your outline for you. So I'll give you a quick example of just how this can be used. And then as time goes on, you'll be able to use it more and more. So if you open up Dash while on the outline page here, you can just ask maybe just a simple question such as, why did you structure volume 1 the way you did? And then Dash will go through, it'll analyze the outline structure, find relevant sentences from the solicitation documents, and then be able to give you an exact answer on why GovDash decided to structure this outline the way that it did. This will be extremely helpful just to check the work of GovDash, just to make sure that you're comfortable with the structure of everything, make sure we didn't miss anything, and do a crosswalk over all the sections. Additionally, you can ask Dash to actually modify the outline for you. So let's say, for instance, you would like to add a cover page to volume 1. You can just ask Dash to add a cover page to the top of volume 1. And Dash will know how to add this directly into the outline for you without any manual integration necessary here. So the next thing I'd like to go over here is just to show how Dash can easily just search through your solicitation package, find relevant information for you, and save you really just a ton of time manually digging through and potentially missing some really important information. So Bailey was showing an example of NASA's SOUP solicitation, which is notoriously massive. I'm going off of a little bit of a smaller solicitation package here, but this will work across any solicitation package that you put within GovDash. An example question that you can ask Dash is, are there any formatting requirements for this proposal? And then Dash will be able to search through the documents and know within seconds what formatting requirements are required. And this really just helps remove the possibility that you may be missing some information. You may have missed the scan, and it'll give you information like, okay, yes, there's a page size limit, there's print type, it needs to be Times New Roman 12 points or larger, information like that otherwise would just be a tedious process for you to go through. So now that I've gone through a couple of the newer features that we've released here within Dash, I wanted to touch on a couple of use cases that I think are some of the most powerful and some of the areas that excite me the most with Dash, and that is the ability to search through your entire data library in Contract Cloud. And this can be used to carry out tasks, ask questions, find information. So the reason that this flow really excites me is it's built on top of a complicated system that uses things like embeddings and algorithms and subagentic flows that really enables us to search through thousands and thousands of documents, key personnel, capabilities, your past performances. It searches through all of this information in just mere seconds, which otherwise would take a long time of parsing through this information. It's very likely that you'd miss information. So a way that you can do this, an example of how you can use this within the proposal cloud specifically, is Dash has access to all the information on the current page that you're looking at. Dash has access to all the information in your data library. You can ask questions such as, maybe you're looking for some key personnel that you'd like to include in this proposal. You can ask Dash to find key personnel relevant to this. And then Dash will go through, it'll make sure it has context on what you're talking about. So it'll read through the solicitation package, search through any awards that you have, search through your documents, and then find relevant information that you can use directly for this proposal. It comes back, and then once you have access to this information, you can then choose whether or not you want to add this into your labor categories here, or you can just ask Dash more specifically to find other things, like maybe find relevant past performances that we have. And then it'll be able to do the exact same thing. So it'll be able to search through your awards and find relevant past performances that maybe you want to use when highlighting in this proposal. So not only can Dash search through your data library and really just act like a teammate that goes out and finds information and consolidates that and brings it for you in a nice way to digest. You can also have Dash search through the internet to find the most up-to-date information. So as we all know, large language models are only trained up to data on a certain date, which can be problematic when you're working in an industry that real-time information really does matter. So we've built in an integration for Dash to be able to search the internet to find information that is relevant to whatever question you're asking or whatever proposal you're working on, maybe even just information that's relevant for you to know for your company as a whole. So an example of how you can use this, we've added a tool to the Dash kit where you can enable web search. We have this as an opt-in feature because we really care about the security of our customers here. So we won't accidentally ever search through the internet to provide any false information. We won't accidentally go out without you explicitly telling us to. But when you have web search enabled, you can ask questions that may be relevant to the proposal you're working on, such as like find any changes to or that could affect this proposal. And then Dash will be able to go out, figure out what you're talking about, search the internet. Once it's searched through a couple of web pages, it'll dive deeper into a couple web pages in particular. And then it will continue to synthesize this information before it decides that it has enough information to confidently give you an answer. And once it has enough information, it's able to pull in information. This one was as recent as April 2025. It cites the source directly here in line, so you know exactly where it got its information from. And Dash will even give you a summary of actions that you should take for your proposal here, based on relevant information that's happening in the world right now. So this I consider to be an extremely valuable feature that can save a ton of time of research and synthesizing information. And we even have a deep research tool that you can also use for this same thing. It'll actually dive deeper into not only the internet, but it'll also dive deeper into your data library. Today, since I'm focused more on Proposal Cloud, I won't dive too deep into that, but just wanted to make that known as an option as well. So overall, throughout the development of Dash, I've always kind of kept one thing in mind, and that's that Dash is your teammate. And it's tightly integrated in your workflows to remove the friction, streamline execution, and amplify your output. So every feature we develop serves this goal. So a good way to think about how to interact with Dash, the best way to achieve the output that you're looking for, is to really just think of him as a helpful teammate. So clearly share what you're trying to accomplish, clearly share your goals, and then it'll take care of the heavy lifting of finding and synthesizing this information, being able to bring that back directly in an easy to digest format, and then we'll give you the opportunity to really just utilize that information to the best of your ability and really amplify the personal output that every single person on your team can have. So now I'm going to switch back to some of the future development plans that we have here at GovDash. And these are just a couple of the many, many things that we're working on right now. And this is something that's coming up next. We'll continue to have and continue to build out new and exciting features to Dash. So the very next thing that's up on the list is enhanced citations. So if you remember the views that Bailey was showing where we were able to highlight each individual sentence on a document that we pulled information from, soon Dash will be able to do the exact same thing. Right now, Dash cites the document that it got information from, but soon when you click on these inline citations, it'll bring you directly to the page, directly to the sentence that Dash extracted this information from, which will really just take the guessing game out of where this information came from. Especially with the rise of AI, everyone is always wanting to make sure that they validated, to make sure the information is correct, to make sure that it was pulled from a valid source that you want to use when you're answering that question or working on a proposal or anything of that matter. So soon Dash will take the guessing game out of that. Additionally, we are planning to enhance our BidMatch integration. So for those of you not aware, BidMatch allows GovDash users to find relevant opportunities for your team. So we use information from your past performances to better tailor your experience and recommend the most relevant opportunities for you to consider. We're actively working on increasing the number of sources that we pull from for this. So the next expansion that we are making is into a GovWin integration, which will allow more opportunities to be found and will just overall improve the experience and ability for your team to maybe find some hidden gems that you should be bidding, and make sure that you're not missing out on any opportunities there. And finally, right now, GovDash is tuned for RFP and RFQ style responses, but soon we'll have workflows to support responding to the sources sought, RFI, and then being able to use that information to inform the RFP and RFQ. And there will be more information on this to come in the future. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for listening to us this past 40 minutes, and I'd like to invite everyone else up to the stage where we can start answering some questions that everyone has.
All right, thanks Parker, thanks Bailey. Yeah, if anyone has questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A box. We do have a couple we can get started with, however. All right, so the first one, what if we think Dash made a mistake while editing an outline?
Yes, so Dash is integrated the same way that normal outline edits are made within the application. So if you think that Dash made a mistake, we have an undo button at the top of the outline that will allow you to undo anything that Dash just did. So this provides sort of like a snapshot that you can undo and redo changes as necessary.
Awesome. Then I have another question here. How does GovDash know a given outline will be compliant?
Yeah, so compliance is really something that we have heavily focused on while going through the entire document processing overhaul. With that, we've created a really thorough test set of over like 80 plus solicitation documents now, ranging from IDIQs, RFIs, state and local opportunities, really just kind of across the board, all of the different types of solicitation documents that one might send through. And we've made sure to thoroughly kind of identify what the different portions of those documents contain, and then make sure that our system is able to pull out and extract all of that relevant information. Obviously, one of the things that we always preach here is trust but verify, and we continue to build out all of the different tools that will allow you to quickly and easily jump in and kind of confirm the way that we have broken apart these documents, how we have made these outlines, and then how you can make sure that everything that's on there is correct.
Cool. Then I have another question. So is Dash closed to our account like the paid version of chat where it doesn't use our chats to learn and make public online?
Yes, absolutely. So Dash is the same as the rest of our platform. We use our own deployed versions of these models. So we make sure not to share any information. None of your information is made public. None of your information is used to learn on. It's all scoped directly to your account. So every interaction you have with Dash is private to just you, as far as the model being trained and being made public. So.
Awesome. And then I think I can take this one, guys. So how can we keep up to date with all of the new features and functionality that GovDash is working on? So we have our roadmap public, which you will be getting an email follow-up with that link. So we update that on some bigger items. If you're a current user, we update our changelog pretty much weekly at this point. So you can see the changes live every week within the dashboard. And then for giving feedback on, what should be worked on next, if you have a feature you'd like to see, we have a roadmap page on the dashboard that people can vote on what they want to see next. And then our account managers also feed directly into our engineering team. So there's a good feedback loop on what we're building. So just yeah, there's a bunch of ways, and we'll follow up with all of that. All right, we have one more here about OpenAI. Yeah, so OpenAI made their models open. Will that help with faster development and shipping of features?
Yeah, I can take that one. So potentially, yes. We do use foundational SOTA models, which we think are more performant than the open source models that were just released. So these are more fine-tuned for our specific workflows that we work with. These OpenAI open source models may help with future feature development or future plans that we have. But as far as day-to-day new features that we're building out, we've really made sure that we've optimized based on the given set of models that we're working on to make sure that we're giving the best output possible.
I'll leave it open for more questions for a couple minutes, but if not, we can wrap up a little bit early and let everybody get back to their Wednesday. Yes, Sam, that's great. So we have our next GovDash Live September 3rd. So every month we're going to be doing a webinar like this with our engineering team, fresh like updates that just went in the platform that they'll go over live. So highly suggest to register for the next one. GovDash is also doing weekly webinars on a range of topics. We have industry leaders joining us, customers joining us. So really exciting content coming your way weekly. So that will all be in our follow-ups. The recording will be available later today. If you want to share or rewatch, it will be on demand for everybody to watch. And yeah, you can go to our website, govdash.com/events to see all the wonderful events we have planned. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Parker and Bailey, for sharing those amazing updates.